folks, another great week, another time, creative financing with JB. This week, we're going to talk about some stuff that's happening in my neighborhood, Smyrna, Delaware. I got my man, Drew Nelson, here. He's our District 1 councilman. He's going to give you a little bit about himself. You know, he's a father, he's a government, he's the man out there in the streets, he's a worker. I mean, he got a lot of hats he wears. For man, we so proud of him. We thankful that he's stepping into that role, and he's gonna let you know a little bit about his background, and then we just gonna get into some questions and stuff that's going on in Smyrna. You know, why we like Smyrna, what's good in Smyrna. You know, people that heard so much, and we just want to dig in. So now, if you would, give us a little background about yourself, and we'll start jumping in.
Yeah, born and raised in Delaware. I was born in Wilmington Hospital. It was a journey for me because we moved around a lot. We- from Newcastle, and then if anybody's from Delaware, everybody know where Wilton is. So
Mhm.
there's pockets of apartments, of where you can live. You can live in Scotch Hills, you can live in all different type of places in Wilton, and then my family actually is originally from Virginia, Hopewell, Virginia, and so it's rooted. Born and raised. I went to church in Wilmington, and they call it the Riverside, which
Yeah.
is the heart of the hood. And it was pretty cool, man, just to be around my brothers and sisters in Christ, and I learned a lot. Being in mixed of being active, and so once that happened, I grew up, and then my dad realized that I had an athletic uh, bone in my body, so he said, "Well, I'm gonna get this boy in football," and then got a full scholarship to Eastern Michigan University. Um, yep, went to play football for free, and which was awesome. And then after that, I graduated, had a bachelor's with electronic media and film, a minor in business, which is awesome. Got a little bit into broadcasting for my school. I was an EMU insider, and then after that, I went to a studio, and they said, you can come here all you want, but we won't pay you. I said, what? you know. So I said, well, let me try to pursue this football thing, and I did sign with Bloomington Extreme, and after that, I coached a little bit. So, man, and never thought I would be a councilman of First District 1 councilman of Smyrna, but now we're here.
Nice, nice, and made it through. Came through Wilmington and stuff, and so seeing Wilmington, seeing Smyrna, you see the growth, and we got little man. Everybody say, "Hey, what's up, to little man?"
Hey,
He's
Landon.
he's getting his TV time, and stuff, and it's all good. But we just trying to with growing Wilmington is grown, it's still populating, people still going, but we're in Smyrna now. Um, I came from up in Newcastle County in Belvedere, which is the Wilmington area, but we look at Smyrna now as it's just starting to grow by leaps and bounds and stuff. And no, so you can probably tell us. I mean, what type of growth have you seen in Smyrna since your time here?
Yeah, so I've been here for 5 years, and I've seen a lot of growth. The thing about Smyrna is you'll see a strip, and so you'll come down, you see 300, and you would go to six. But on the strip, you got maybe a restaurant here or there, or you got a Smyrna diner. But they just built on Main Street. We got a new library.
Mm,
And I kid you not, the library across the original library can fit inside the new library. That's how small it was. And then we just got a new Popeyes,
right.
a new a new Planet Fitness, and so Smyrna is growing. The awesome thing about Smyrna is that you got people who migrate. Of course, Middletown is the Newcastle County, and so a lot of people from Middletown are coming because Middletown is so full, are coming down here,
Mhm.
which is cool. But a lot of companies are finding out there's a lot of acres of land to be bought up, a lot of municipals, a lot of parcels. So you got a lot of big time CEOs coming in and trying to annex and trying to buy certain things
Mhm.
and build on the land. So, but it is expanding.
Wow, wow, and that's great. The new library looks fabulous out there. For I mean, people don't think it's a milestone. That's a big milestone for us. As our other library, it was a little bit smaller. You couldn't have as many activities as you could in the new library and stuff, and that's a huge, huge event going here in Smyrna. And what else do we kind of see with the growth of Smyrna? I think our population is just growing by leaps and bounds for it.
Yeah, so the former mayor Robert C. Johnson, he had me be the liaison for his nonprofit, and with that, he was telling me that Smyrna is 90% black, and I said, "Really?" Daddy, he said, "Yeah." He said, "There's a lot of us down here, and
Hmm.
so if you think about Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a lot of properties that are being filled up, and so when I started seeing it was when I started going to some of these events with him. Um, and so, with that being said, there's plenty of little pockets that you can find. A Taste of New York is right around the corner. That's black owned. Um,
Hmm.
and then we had Sweet Treats this year. It was a restaurant. She came through, and it was black owned. So there's a lot of culture here. They just did a nice little, what's that thing, like a monument of
Hmm.
George C. Wright, a statue of the first black mayor here, and right next to the post office.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's a lot of little hidden gems here in Smyrna.
Wow, wow, and tell us a little bit about that poster, that statue. Next to the post office here. What makes that so historical out here?
So it makes it so historical because it's the first mayor, George C. Wright, and he has actually a park, George C. Wright Municipal Park, and he was the first one to be in the community and make everything diverse, and he had a big influence on a lot of Smyrnians. A lot of people came to him for the answer, and he had it. And so, what's significant about it now in 2025, his daughter is still active in the community. She goes to the AME church right here on Commerce, and she still is connected with people. There is the Focus Pharmacy, who is black owned. They have everything organic, and a lot of people that go to that church are in the mix in the community. Now, granted, some people might not live here in Smyrna. They might live on the outskirts. They might live in Clayton. They might live in Kenton, Kenton, just around the corner, our sister cities. But there are a lot of people that want to contribute in the community here in Smyrna.
Wow, wow, yeah, and it's amazing. We see Brentford Station area that with all that new construction that's going up, and builders and stuff is growing by leaps and bounds for it and stuff. We got a brand new Planet Fitness that's coming up that's open in the area as well. As we continue to grow out here, we just sharing with folks some of the things we have. They have some festivals you might want to share with us that they have in Smyrna. You.
Yeah, we just had the July parade just last week, and it was amazing. Um, Actually, we just built a new park, a new section in the park, in Municipal Park, George C.W. Park. Also, when it comes, we have Smyrna at Night. Well, Smyrna at Night is where you have vendors come in and you have performances. We have concerts, and so it's like northeast, southwest. So you go down Main Street, it's like different pockets, different sections. And so you have a concert here, and then you have a concert there, and you have a concert there, but you got a lot of people coming up with their real estate, jewelry, you name it, just walk through, you get that. So we have something called Smyrna at Night. And also with the fireworks, this is how well knit and small this town is. Everybody goes to the middle school or the high school to view the fireworks. So you see cars and cars, right, of Smyrnians out there, everybody knows everybody, man. Everybody's cozy up, looking for the fireworks. So during the day, you got the parade, everybody's out, and then everybody goes in because it gets hot, right? And then everybody comes out later. So that's how it is in Smyrna, man. Everybody, and this is a praying town too. As soon as you come in Smyrna, you actually see a scripture that is on the water on the billboard too. So it sets the tone when you come into Smyrna. And Smyrna has a significance also too. I don't want to get too biblical, but Smyrna has a significance in its name as well. And also too, can't forget this. Can't We got Harriet Tubman. We have the museum here too. So Harriet Tubman has walked these these same pastures. She
Mhm.
traveled through with the Underground Railroad here, so we got signs of Harriet Tubman. We have signs of, Patriot Way, different colonels. So it's very historical and rich here.
Yeah, and it's growing by leaps and bounds for it, and we're steadily improving for it. When you come down there, we have a new building right there that's by the water off of 13 Lake Como. Am I?
No, you're right, Lake Como.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that new building there, if we have any insight on that. Is that a new building that's
So
connected to the hospital?
yeah, so I know that that building's being built. As far as I thought it was social services, if I'm not.
Services. Okay.
Yeah, and so they just reconstructed it. I know RYU, I think that's the name of the company, was pretty
Mhm.
big on that. And so yeah, they're just reconstructing it and making it better than what it was. Um, and then of course the new library was built. So, but it's right by Lake Como.
Which is steady growing and stuff. What do you see in Smyrna in the next 5 years? You think? What can
Uh,
people expect? Probably.
I would expect more diversity. I would expect more construction, more building. There's a lot of vacant buildings right now. So along the main strip, of course, you see, that's kind of like the highlight. Um, you get the actual, Planet Fitness. You get the Smyrna Diner. You get the Wawas and things of that on that nature. But on the outside, you're going to see apartment complexes being built. You're going to see there's a company called KRM is going to come in, and they're going to have where trucks can park and move out and transport different product, whether it be steel, or whatever, whatnot, what have you. But you're going to see a lot of things on the outside of Smyrna that you don't see on that main road.
Mm. And that's going to be interesting to kind of see that when you start going to Main Street and by the firehouse and a lot of those events. I mean, we got Smyrna High School, huge, huge.
Yes.
Football, lacrosse, baseball. It's tennis. It's a wonderful tribute as we see out here, and we see the growth and the diversity growing in our city, and we want to let folks know that as our growth continues, it's a great place for business. It's a great opportunity to build the business here for it and stuff, and I think we're pretty peaceful. We just had the our chief of police retire,
Yes. Yes.
which was wonderful tribute. He's a town manager now for it, if I'm speaking correctly.
Yeah, so Tori is a great man. He's African American, and he's willing to take his shirt off the back for you. And we just had his exit interview, and he did feel like a little relief that he didn't have to be the chief of police because he could pass it on. And with the town manager, what he does, he handles the budget. He negotiates with those coming in, and so he handles all the details when it comes to the finances, the impact fees, things of that nature.
hmm and we got a question. What is the approach to the community engagement, and how do we plan to involve residents in the decision making process?
Well, the biggest thing you can do is come to the town hall first and third Monday. You can give your comments and concerns, and we'll listen. If you see me out in on a beautiful land of Smyrna, please come and talk to me. And what I'll do is that I will listen to you, and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible.
Mm. And that's important. The first and third Mondays at down so we can get the community, bring the community out. Y'all, everybody has some ideas. We like to listen. We like to see how we can incorporate those in that so we can have a voice in what's happening out here. Next question: how do you plan to address the issues of affordable housing in the district? Or that's $1 billion question right there.
Yeah, yeah. So some of these questions I can't answer because that's not my department.
Hmm.
Um, the council board is pretty stretched. I'm more of Parks and Rec,
Hmm.
but affordable housing, that is another topic that is ongoing. We do have people in place for that. The biggest thing is that the land tax. We just got bombed for the property tax going up. So I know
We
where that's going. So some of this, I completely understand. We need affordable housing. We need people who can live comfortably and not have to worry about the next, their rent or their mortgage. But that is in its work. That can be something that we can be discussed on the board.
Yeah, for it, and that's part. So tell us with Park and Rec, what do we have happening out here with the Parks and Rec and on the horizon, I should say.
Yeah, so there's a meeting July 23rd, and we're going to basically dissect what we're going to do. But a lot of it is just expanding on the parks we already have, just to make it more safer, more cleaner, as far as the ground, just make it suitable for the kids that are of age. Because if you think about it, in the town of Smyrna, you have North Smyrna Elementary, we have elementary schools, and we already have parks. We just want to enhance them. And also build some in certain areas too as well. But no, just make sure that it's kid friendly, and make sure that it's well lit. If you go to municipal park now, they got the lights up so you can play at night. And so we've just have actually in the municipal park new bathrooms that are way more, way better than the ones we used to have. Uh, but it's safe because it has a sensor on it, so it will as far as the homeless, they don't go in there and pretty much make themselves cozy. But it's one of those things where we're planning right now to get everything together, but just basically enhancing what we already have because we got the big oak right around the corner. We have a municipal park that just got new gravel down. And a new ring around the rosy. I'm gonna say that. I may be telling my age. Right in front. So we're just gonna making some enhancements.
That's good. That's good. So we'll probably see more events in the park. Do you foresee that as something we can do? And
Yes, so Juneteenth, you will see that. You will see a lot more of and small business. I think recently I was there and they had a safety how to put your car seat in your car safety. There was a camp set out there. So little things like that you'll see little events, and they're just going to showcase what you guys have. But please, it's important if you have an idea, come first. I can't stress this enough. First and third Monday of the month.
Mhm.
At the end, because what happens is they'll give a presentation, and if you have something that is sound, your presentation can be presented by Jeremy, and he'll give you all the annexations where the municipal is, which is just an acre of land, and which you could build on. And then after that, you can present. And then if you have any comments or concerns at the end of the meeting, then you get 3 minutes apiece. Get your thought out there if you're a business owner, and we can definitely hear you and help you.
mm. Okay, yeah, that's good to know. That's wonderful to know that we'll have that. We have some parks. I mean, bathrooms is important in that parks. Events for our young folks. That we can have in the park. I know some folks talk about having like music in the park where we can just bring a chair out and just listen to a nice band or something for it.
Yeah, we just recently, not too long ago, had a gospel concert. AME Church was a sponsor for it, and you can set up your speaker out there. And then they had, we have the pavilion, so they had a barbecue out there. So the town will back you up. You just got to talk to the right people.
Okay. Yeah. What strategies do you use to promote the Parks and Recreation Department within the community?
So we have Smyrna tidbits, and the email goes out. It's a blitz, and also what I do is I have a podcast too, and so I promote it as well on Diversity Talk, which is the nonprofit, and so I promote it on there. But if you want to, we can also put it in the newsletter as well. If you bring it to the town hall on Patriots Way, and just say, "Hey, I got this idea. I want to, put this out there. I want to promote," and we could definitely do that for you.
Yeah, tell us about your podcast. When is that, and when can they tune in to watch
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it's more of a Facebook. So it's Smyrna Center for Diversity has a Facebook. You go on there and you can see the episodes. Um, if you get a chance, if you come up to me and we have a rapport, I can see you in a link.
Mhm.
And so it's basically that that's it. And so, but it's good, man. And then if you are a thriving entrepreneur, or if you're just heavy in the community, I'll bring you on my podcast on Diversity Talk, and we'll put your name out there, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Facebook, and and you can use it on your platform too as well.
Yeah, and we got and don't forget to reach out to Nelson. He's on YouTube as you see it going around at Mr. Deep 2020 2425 Ford as well. Mr. Tyrone Ricks, I appreciate Feel Good Talk for donating monetary gifts for me. We love you all. Good to hear you, Tyrone. Ford, but we want to make sure that we get Nelson. We're gonna have his phone number come across the screen. We're gonna have the Instagram, so y'all can reach out, ask him some questions. Somebody else is asking, how do we handle complaints from park users or members of the public park? For Nelson, I mean, how is that handled? Do they have to come to a town hall meeting, or is it a way they can say, hey,
Yeah.
people
So
park?
Yeah, so and I don't know if referring to those who are maybe homeless, but
Yeah.
if you have a complaint, we're pretty much on that. But please, come out first and third. You're gonna hear me that say it a lot. First and third Monday. Give your comments and concerns, and we definitely listen to you. And that's why we have the new bathrooms in there, because the old bathrooms were open. You can go in there, and then it's just pretty much a free for all. But now, we have cameras out there on each light. If you really pay attention, if you go out there, Municipal Park, and it's a sensor, so it automatically shut down at a certain time, so no one can be out there with their book bag, or their clothes, or because really the population of homelessness is actually in Dover,
Right.
and and so it's pretty heavy there. But we do have one or two people I seen have been regulars as homeless people here
Mhm.
in Savannah, but it's not too bad here.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. We're trying to make it sure and convenient for those folks that are without housing to find an avenue where they can go,
Yeah,
for because when you're homeless, where do you go? You try to find a comfort to where you're not out in the public and everybody don't see you every day. But
yeah,
we doing a tremendous job by providing some security there for it, and see that going. I know with our chief of police leaving, we have a new acting chief in place for it. But I think our police, and you can comment on this, Nelson. I think they do a great job, overall within the town of Smyrna.
yeah. So just a quick story. Smyrna at night, I had my boys walk around, and my son always asks some questions about forensics, and he gets his little flashlight out, and so he goes around the house and he shuts all the lights off, and he's looking for certain things that it could be a Lego toy. So, but what he does is, when we was at Smyrna at night, we went out to excuse me, hold on, my son is
Mhm.
making his cameo with this.
Yeah, he
But
telling us nothing.
what I did was I said, let me just test out and see if we have some cool police officers. So they actually went into their back of their car, and they showed my son all the forensic tools they use when
Oh,
it
wow.
comes to investigation. So they're pretty cool. You
Mhm.
could also you actually could call and do a ride along. And if you want to see the day in life of a cop, you could definitely sit in the back seat and they'll take you on a ride along. And so that's available to you as well. But for the most part, I know we hear the horrific stories of how cops treat black and brown, and
Mhm.
even just bad situations. But that's
Mhm.
not the case here in Smyrna. We pretty much have a even kill and cool chief of police that took the place of Tory. A
Mhm.
real good dude. Looks you in your eye, talks to you, and don't just shoot you as someone he can just dominate. So
Mhm. Mhm. And that's good to, have somebody for that. But tell us about this diversity team that y'all have, and how is that orchestrated, or how's that worked out here in Smyrna?
yeah, so Robert C. Johnson and his wife Charlotte put together Center, Smyrna Center for Diversity, and basically, they was started it, and they wanted to make a difference in the community, and so they definitely make their mark in the schooling system. So we give out scholarships as well to the high schoolers who earn it. Of course, there's a qualification system, and you got to actually go through certain things to get the scholarship. As far as community service, if you're an athlete, your grades, your GPA, excuse me, and things of that nature. Um,
Hmm.
and we put together as well town hall. So we made informative about bullying. We want to make sure that there was no bullying going on in the school district, because there has been incidents of where there's been some protests at the high school, things of that nature. And so he put that together to kind of bring everybody together as one, as a diversity group here. And so his main goal was just to inform. Now, what they also have is a gala coming up.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so get your black tie ready, get your, and it's going to be a nice little show, nice little gathering with food, and also they do is it's a wine tasting as well. So they have it placed up in Newark, and so they have a couple things in place, which is pretty awesome and pretty cool. But it's just bringing diversity group together, and you can definitely come to the meetings and help out.
Oh, nice, nice. And tell us about this gala. When is that held, or?
Yeah, that's going to be in October, and yours truly is going to be the host.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and I would definitely have more information later. But the flyers will be going out, and it'll be publicized in the Smyrna Tidbits. But it's just going to be a nice little gala, nice little fashion, a nice food, and yeah, stay tuned for more.
Right. And and you can tell us, Nelson. Remember, Smyrna used to have a diversity meeting
hmm
with Robert Johnson and folks. Do they still have that available for the Smyrnians? And
They do. Charlotte puts the email out there, and I will have to talk to Robert. We're becoming more exclusive recently because we're getting our agenda together. But yes, it's open. It's open to the public. I'll definitely make sure of that, because people want to know, and we will invite those out too as well.
right, right, for because that's a good thing. To kind of find out that'll be a good plan for some of our folks out here, to attend, to see how we can, get along what's happening out here, maybe share some events from some other communities, so we can prepare. Um, and tell us this, are there a lot of veterans? Are there a lot of veterans residing in Smyrna? It'd be nice to see a veterans event in the park, maybe.
Yes, I'm sorry, veterans in the park.
Yeah, a veterans event in the park. They
Yep.
saying.
So we just had. Just excuse me. Just eat out of
Mhm.
there. So
Right.
we just had Memorial Day. We just had a nice salute and sound off, and uh, we had memorial service, and then we had salute and other flags. So there's a lot of veterans that came out. They did the, I think 13 gun salute. Forgive me if I said the wrong thing,
Right.
but yeah, we just had that, and then actually near the municipal park, there's little bricks of those who serve, and their names engraved. Um, they're engraved. So yes, we just had that event, and there's a lot of veterans here, and they actually show up and show out. They have their uniforms on, and then they come out, man, and they're nice and clean. They're so clean. So yeah, we had that event every year.
Yeah, and that's beautiful to have that for our veterans. For we do have a lot of veterans in Smyrna area, for because we have that American Legion over there as well,
Yes.
for it and stuff, which is a great thing to salute to our veterans and put some stuff out there in the community for our veterans there. Being a member of NAB, that's National Association of Black Veterans, we might even consider having, a summer little festival out there in Smyrna so we can get some more folks out there in the park. And Nelson, maybe you can answer this question. If somebody want to do an event in the park, how does that work? Do they need to go to town hall or something
Well, if
and
it's if,
register?
if it's in the first district, so there is, Smyrna has three districts. So if you're in my district, definitely give me a call, and
Mhm.
then I could definitely set it up for you. But we have Mike Pearson, who is the head of our Parks and Rec, and so I make sure you have his contact information as well. And so if you have something in mind,
Mhm.
time, location, and if you have the permits of things of that nature, just let us know, and we'll definitely make it happen for you. And
Mhm.
also come out first and third Mondays, and please voice what you want done.
Yeah, yeah, and we got to do that. And you said something about permits, so we would have to get permits to utilize the parks and probably insurance. Is that correct? Or
Yes, yes, correct. Yes, and then if you have vendors, make sure they have license, things of that nature.
oh, nice, nice. So y'all hearing it's a criteria. It's not a free for all. Just don't come up and start setting up. We have some criteria, and I take it as fees for that when they do that in the park.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yep. All that would be discussed.
yeah, is the fee set on how many people or the usage that?
Yeah, I can't really touch based on that. I would have to refer to Mike Pearson on that in more in depth. But I know there is some type of factor when it comes to that.
Okay, okay, perfect, perfect. So folks, I'm just letting you know, don't just go set up and say I'm a Smyrnian. I pay my taxes and set up. so, you don't set up there and go out there and think it's free. Your taxes don't pay for the park by itself. It is a format that we're excited. As you said, we're excited to do it. We're excited to bring those events to the park for it and come look at it. First and third Monday, as he talked about, something else we might even look at it, an event center that we might want to have in Smyrna. I don't know if anybody ever mentioned that, Nelson. So where we can have events in Smyrna, a comedy show maybe or something like that.
Okay, yeah, and I know actually, Social at Maine is owned by Brandon. I'm not gonna put his last name out there, but Brandon, he's a good buddy of mine, and he has a nice little lounge area. And so if anybody, and it's right down the street, right on Main Street. But if anybody wants to put together a social event, or a comedy, that's a great spot as well. And of course, we have the Belmont Hall. If that's right around the corner. But there's little pockets, man. If you guys want to come on out, and definitely, if you're looking to do something like that.
And I forgot to ask, can you break up where how the districts are run? Where's the first and the second and the third, and kind of give us that territory?
Yeah, so just to not, I want to make it too complicated, but then everything, because we're just connected to Newcastle County. So when you come down and you'll see the King County sign, once you step into that, that's the first district, and then there's a cutoff on Bradford Road where that stops, and then over there by Sunnyside in that area is the second district, and then getting closer to like the Clayton area, and that's where the third district is. So there's different roads that you can kind of teeter and tether. But at the end of the day, we're all one. We do have. I'm the first district one councilman. My name, of course, is Nelson Drew. But then the second district council woman is Corrine Upshar, and the third is Alvin Pope. And so, yeah, we are all together. And actually, Alvin Pope is my mentor. I go to him for a lot of answers as well. So yeah, man, we out here.
Oh, that's good to know, Ford. So we know how it's broken down, and Ford and somebody was asking another question here. If someone would like to bid on maintaining landscaping of the park, are there a person you need to spoke to, or what is the criteria? Who maintains that, like
Who
the
made
parks and the recreation areas and stuff?
Yeah, that'd be Mike Pearson.
Mike
He
Pierce.
Mike Pearson. He's the direct contact with that. For just to kind of give the kind of set the mantra. So what I do is and I have to explain this way. So I'm more like the CEO, right? And
Hmm.
so when you come to the first and once again first and third Mondays, come to the town hall. I'm on a panel. I'm on a board, and
Hmm.
so I listen to you. I can't respond to you, but I'll listen to your idea. I'll listen to your comments and concerns. And so once that happens, we have to have a quorum, and the quorum has to make a decision on you know the final say. But here's the thing: we have those who work underneath us. We have those who assist with the water. We have those who assist with the parks and rec, the tree planting, the schooling, stuff like that. We have those working underneath us. We have those who are lawyers who kind of give us the legalities on a lot of things. So there's a lot of steps before you get to us, and we have people working for us. So there's a lot of things, a lot of factors.
Wow, wow. So yeah, there's some steps that we have to take to get to that portion of seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to the meeting and y'all have that 3 minutes, they recommend something, is that brought up to, and when you said the board, that's all the council people and the city
Yep.
department heads and stuff.
Yep. So you got the town councilman at large. You got two. You got Ken Olson and Nick Miles, and then you have the council districts, which is me, uh, Kareen Upshar, and Alvin Pope, and then you have the mayor, Tabitha Gott. And so when you have that time, we will announce it. We will say now it's time for comments and concerns, and then you go right up to the podium and you present.
Mm,
And so, on a larger scale, if you want to talk about annexation, municipals, buying certain acres, and I can't stress enough, let's get back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Buying our own land. But if you want to get to that point, you talk to a guy named Jeremy. But it's going to be all there, and also too, you can go to the town of Smyrna, .com, and you can actually look all this stuff up. I would recommend also reading the charter. Okay, that is like the Bible when it comes to the policies and certain terminology when it comes to getting involved. So you got to know before you request. Okay, you got to know before you request. So I would go online and look at the charter.
the charter to make sure you know the proper protocol to
Yes.
get that stuff done for it, which is so important to do it. Who developed that charter, and can you give us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that was done, of the existence of Town Smyrna, a long time ago, and we actually are thinking about amending it, so changing certain things because there's a lot of old practices in the charter. It's more than 48 pages. Okay, it's a lot of reading, but in there's a lot of annexation, a lot of zonings, a lot of areas, parcels, and things of that nature. Municipals that you just got to pay attention to. Um, you know how to approach the council, things of that nature. So there's different layers. I would just say if you have some time on your hands, get ready to read. So
Mm-hmm. So can people ask questions at that meeting about the charter and that get addressed, or how does that work?
yeah, so any comments or concerns, we actually encourage that. That helps us out. So if you're reading the charter and you say, you know what does this mean? We can't answer that, but if you come up and have that type of comments or concern, then please by all means, because that gives us an idea and a different perspective. Because some of these practices have been set for a long time. Of course, the town of Smyrna, there were certain areas where how can I put this delicately? It was the good old boys on the panel. So a lot of the old mantra is still in that mix. But if you want to, we're more diverse than ever. If you look at our panel right now, we have four, including Tory. We have four blacks there. So back in maybe 7 years ago, it wasn't that way. Okay, former mayor Robert C. Johnson, yes, he was a black man, but now we have four people that look like us there.
It's amazing. It's amazing, to get that diversity going on throughout the state and stuff, so we can get that. And that's good to know, for it on first and third Mondays, start at 7 p.m. Sharp.
I would get there at 6:45. I'm gonna be honest.
So you can get a good seat, for it and everything. It's amazing, to see a town grow. We started to make some changes. It's a lot of history there that folks would like to know about. Ford and understanding the small little post office next to the county building, the town of Smyrna, which is kind of unique, and it's like you said, it's a close knit right there. My question is, going over the bridge, we still consider that Smyrna, right off of Commerce. If you come through across 13 from Commerce and come straight over, you pass the
Oh,
subdivision.
yeah. So you're talking about going toward Woodland Beach?
Yes.
Yes. So all of that, I'm glad you brought that up. So all of that is still Smyrna. All that is still the district. And I'm glad you bring it up because that's key. Because there's a lot of acre land, a lot of parcels. So back there is still considered Smyrna. You can fish back there. There's a dock back there, but it's pretty much very rural. So everybody sees that main road. But if you go over there to Woodland Beach in that area, and then there's little neighborhoods back there too. So it's pretty amazing that you could just kind of drive back there and just kind of clear your head because all
Yeah.
you see is crop.
Right. 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 What part of the district is that, Nelson?
That's still first district.
That's your first district. Wow. Woodland Beach and stuff like that, Ford and stuff. A good place to clear your head and get some relaxation, Ford and Ford. We always see that land back there. I don't know if they're still building back that way or.
So here's the thing: they we've have maybe four more projects, meaning four more presenters coming in to buy up the acres of land. And so, we got the Ramunos, the Capanos, things of that nature. But with those projects, you know, w- just to kind of, set the precedent, we can always say no. Um, Linden, we just saw that, and it's about maybe 6 or 7 acres of land. But also want to protect our land too, and see how much equity is for that. And so we just when we come to see these presentations, we want to make sure it's beneficial for the whole town, not just for the property owner.
Right, right, Ford and stuff. And folks, you see Nelson's number going across there, 302-547-0466. Reach out with some questions you might have so he can probably guide you probably to where you need to go. Not saying that he's going to have all the answers, but he can probably get you in that direction that you need to be, for it. I know some folks might think about, hey, what if I wanted to buy some of that land and build on it, and probably put affordable housing. Nelson, would that be something that we can discuss at that meeting, or I can mention
Yes,
for it?
yes, please, please, by all means, if you have all the proper, I'm gonna say, just keep it light, paperwork,
Hmm.
okay? Comments and concerns are one thing, ideas are another, and if you just have something you're passionate about, that's one thing. But I will caution you: the those who buy these acres of land have their legality, aspect of it. They have the cost of the land, the annexation, meaning certain areas where they can build on, certain areas they can't build on. So there's a lot of research that goes into this. This is not just, hey, I want to buy this land. What do I do? You got to come prepared. And so, it's tough. We can do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. We can do it. And if you're serious about it, let us know. There's actually two buildings right now that are vacant on Main Street that no one wants, and it's owned. And so it's good to think about that if you want your own building. Um, you know, as far as your own duplex. Let's start small because the acres of land, that's a big task. Like 82 acres of land. I don't know if you realize it's like 30. It's 3,720 per you know piece of land. So it's a lot, man. So that's a lot of coin. If you got it, great. If you don't, that's just a start. But to build on those parcels, you really have to have your paperwork ready.
Hmm. Are they subdivided already, Nelson, or you have to subdivide them?
Yeah, that depends.
Okay.
That depends. Like right now, we just had a company come in and they got a apartment complex that they're trying to build.
Oh, nice.
And what do you mean by subdivision? Let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
Like it has the parcels already split up. They're sectioned off to where this is one parcel, this is parcel of land. Are the parcels split up and
Yes,
subdivided? Okay.
yes, yes, yes. Some spots are. So yes, and they'll tell you. They'll definitely tell you. I can't say much by saying
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. We
if you can't tell by now, I can't really
yeah,
indulge into. I'm being
yeah.
conservative here, but
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
but yeah. So it is which is called zoning. They will tell you the zoning where you can and cannot build.
Yeah. Have anybody ever mentioned tiny home communities in those areas, or
Mm-mm.
for it and stuff? For which is another question some folks come up, because I know Sussex County have tiny home communities in there and everything. So we can kind of discuss and kind of go from there to see what they are for it. So.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff we need. Like, just come to the town hall first and third. We
Mhm.
need ideas like that. And please, by all means, because we have these acres of land are getting buy out by these big time companies. Okay, but what we can do is if you get something that will be beneficial for the town, and you think it's something that's going to be you know for us, please come on out because there's not a lot of us there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think
Right,
you went.
it's not.
You
It's
know,
not a lot of us.
yeah. So you've been to the town hall, and it's like
Mhm.
it's the same, 15 to 20 people. You got one lady who represents the veterans, and she has an event, all the time. And then you got one person who's come to every town hall meeting. She got her questions, but then you got most of the staff. A lot of people don't know it, but most of the people in the audience is the staff that works in the town of Smyrna.
Right.
So, that's another piece. So, but if you show up, please, I recommend this. Just listen the first time. Just
Hmm.
because you're gonna see a presentation. It's gonna be we have 4 or 5 TVs up, and you'll see the different color coded areas. and they're going to go over the annexation and the zoning and the parcels, and Jeremy is pretty thorough. There's a guy named Jeremy. He's pretty thorough. He's going to give you the history behind it too as well, of this land. And so just listen, and come on out, and then when you come back, you get an idea of what is all about.
Right, right, for it and stuff, because there's so much happening and so many little spots there, and a lot of folks is trying to build. They're trying to grow it for it, but we need a nightlife too, Nelson. We we have, we have limited nightlife.
Yeah, I know. I asked some of my friends, and they said, "Well, we'll let you know." It's like, okay, right. And I know everybody work, man. I know everybody has, life, and life be life, and man, and you want to just have, downtime. But if you're serious about this community, man, come on out first and third Monday.
Yeah, yeah, for it and stuff, and anything special that you probably want to share that you didn't get to share with us, um, that we
I,
might need to know.
Man, I just let you know I'm an optimistic man. I'm a father. First, first I'm a child of God, and I'm a
Hmm.
father. And I just minister to the people. I've been in the community since I was a little boy, being at the church.
Hmm.
I've done Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters,
Hmm.
Team by Team Warehouse on Thatcher Way in Wilmington. So, I've been about the community blue and gold game. The working with the autism and the kids up there. So, you know, it's time for us just to come together, and be united, and don't be afraid to speak up. It's time. It's now. And with the small town of Smyrna, it could definitely reflect us.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, and that's what we needed to do. Reflect us, make sure that we're being seen out there, making sure that we're attending some of these events, making sure the word is being spread. I know Main Street's a big project now in Smyrna. And at our last meeting, he was talking about increasing it. With trees and different stuff
Yeah.
to improve. Like it's a really city life and everything.
Yeah, there was I think it's a mural, nice little painting they have out. They just
Yes.
did a little ribbon cutting there. And then you got the jewelers, shops, and I think you have barbecues in there, and but as a it's not a Market Street in Wilmington. I'm gonna put it that way.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not close either.
No. But that's a good thing, right? So we got to
Right,
expand
right.
on that.
We miss Sweets and Treats. That was right in the corner. We used to have a vegan spot there too. That used to be there, but we're going to put something in that area so we can actually grow that community back. To give us a little nightlife. And get something out, going out there. We got Taste of New York. They have karaoke. you
Yeah,
know, you
yeah,
know, on Fridays, and I think Sundays they have a brunch as well.
yeah.
For it.
And shout out to Taste of New York. Me and my wife went there for Valentine's Day, and they had great entertainment, man. And even
Mhm.
though it was a little small hole in the wall place, it was superb, man.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Somebody said community garden. That'll be a nice little thing we can probably set up out here in Smyrna too to get it going. I mean, it's a lot of ideas, so folks don't miss the opportunity to come out on that first and third Mondays, 7 o'clock, 6:45. Be there, get you a good seat, sit down, get the agenda, sign in, write your name, so you can be heard. Because it's a lot of stuff that we're trying to do to help. It would be so. It'd be so nice to see that the community's coming out to support. And Nelson, I probably said, is that open? That's open to all three districts. Is that correct for Smyrna?
Yes, it is. And I'm gonna take it a step forward. You know, even if you don't come out, there is right in front of the town hall. There's like a bulletin board, right, and it shows you what meetings are coming, and it shows you uh, the different areas of where first and second district is, and you could just, you know, if even if you just say I'm a little timid, you know, coming in the town hall, or you know, 6 o'clock. You know, some people work at night, or some people might have, you know, other things going on. Great, perfect. If you want to walk during the day, say when you get off, or you say if you have your day off, there's actually a nice little pin board that they have actual paper, and they keep that updated. So when the meetings are, the agenda, like you said, is on there, what we're going to talk about, and also, you know, the annexation of where they're building on. So we have stuff, you know, hard copies out there, right? But it will mean so much if you actually show up first and third Monday. I talked to a couple owners, um, all in the Ritz Barbershop. Great. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, a lot of people walk through there, and Kev is the owner, and he's going to come on out. You know, but if I'm telling you, it's a different when you have a presence of us there, because I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it. It's because my family came down from when I got sworn in, and it's just a different vibe. It's a different aura when you have us in the room. And I'm being politically, you know, when I say us, but you know who we are. When we actually show up, they can't really deny us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for it, and that's what we need, to show up. Show up. Don't sit back and wait for stuff to happen. For it, the newsletter. Before we get to go, I know we still got a million questions probably, but the newsletter. Do they mail those out to the residents, or how do you obtain one?
Yeah, we was discussing that, but right now they're blitzed out in the Smyrna tidbits. So that's just an easy. Hey, I just want to receive them, so just give them your email, and then we'll blitz it out to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the Smyrna tidbits. Basically, it's a list of things going on in Smyrna. So there's always something going on at the Grand Opera House, at the new library. Certain people who retire, they honor them, things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. You know, AME Church is always hosting something. Even the Boys and Girls Club is in the Smyrna tidbits, and the Boys and Girls Club is right on Commerce. So you know, there's a lot of information in the Smyrna tidbits that go out via email.
That's awesome. Nelson, man, it's always a pleasure. you know, I appreciate you coming on. We got to do it again. When we start, as these updates start to happen, we have these events coming out. I like to kind of post to everybody for it. And folks, you see, you can reach Nelson on YouTube at Mr. Deep 2425. Check him out. He's on the gram as well. Ford, you can call them as well, 302-547-0466. And on a gram, he's at now 2524. So reach out, tag him, bring him in, ask him some questions, shoot out to him to see what's going on out there. As you talk about, we got the new library, the ribbon cutting. That was Check out the new library. It's not like the old one. I want to promise y'all, it's not like the old one. But we'll have a great time. But folks, this creative financing with JB. We will see you again next week. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and y'all have a great evening.